Morning. Thanks for joining us. Earth and Tree Miniatures in Amherst, New Hampshire. A full-service dollhouse store with a full-service website and retail open to the public 7 days a week. Today in our Rye Dollhouse, our dollhouses are made here and designed by us, and the kits are created by us right here in New Hampshire. This Rye has a kitchen down here. It's deep enough to do your dining room, living room, and then 2 bedrooms up top, and we have a bathroom in the middle. We have papered this in an itsy bitsy boat theme. It's pretty much the whole thing's nautical. There's lighthouses and boats, and we're going to feature an old world tile floor in this room for the bathroom tile, just something different that you don't see all the time. These are handmade in the USA. They're printed on a thicker paperboard, mat board, a heavy duty paperboard. You can leave them as is, or they actually include a stylus and some kits, and you can actually groove the grout lines, which we'll do today, just to show you. It gives a little bit of more of a relief. It doesn't have such a flat feeling after you do that. So Old World Tile has many designs, all different patterns, stone, brick, a lot of the Mediterranean motif like you see that we're choosing to do today. Just something different and unique. A little more fun in the dollhouse. All right, so you can see it's already onto the board. It already has a finish coating on it, which you can leave, or you can seal it with a urethane or a Mod Podge, any type of sealer if you'd like to. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to cut it to size for our room. We're going to measure 5 1/4. My wallpaper way down a little. Now we want to see if 5 1/4 on our pattern is going to put us, so each one of our design squares, if you can see the grout lines in here, is 1 inch. So 5 1/4 is going to put us with a half of a design on one end. So if we don't like that idea, if we want it to be more centrally located, more of the same space over here as over here, we can change that. So by shifting the ruler and putting the 5 1/4 right here, so you can see we're kind of splitting this end tile in half here and splitting this end tile in half. Let's see, we're on the grout lines. We need to go back just a little bit more, right about there. So I'm showing the distance here. We're trimming off about the same amount of tile on each side. So we're going to go right here and then 5 1/4 right here, so I can see my lines there, and I can also make a mark right here that I'm at 9 7/8 right here. So when I move my ruler down to do it again, make sure my ruler is at 9 7/8, and then I do my 5 1/4 right here, and I do the end of the ruler right there. And our room is only about 7 1/2 inches deep, and I think the half a tile that we end up with is just fine. So again, it'll be the same thing. It'll be 7 1/2, so it'll end up right in the middle of a grout line of the tile. Or again, we could, if we wanted to move down and have the same tile cut on each end, which we can do. We can go ahead and do that. So if I put 7 1/4 right on this grout line, that gives me this tile split in half and this tile split in half right here. So right there and right there. So again, down here, if I put that 7 1/2, 7 1/4 on that grout line right there, then that puts me 7 1/2 right there, like that. So we can see our lines with our pencil. Might be better off to have a nice little black marker, since the lines are a little hard to see. You can see them over on the white edge just fine, which helps me line up where they are over here. Okay, so I've got a box cutter using an X-Acto knife, whatever works for you. Nice metal edge ruler so I can push hard down on that and push against it. I'm going to score it a few times because it's so thick. You don't want to try to cut through just in one fell swoop. End up ripping it and tearing it. You can see it broke free there with that last pass. Put our spare piece over there. Trim off up top here where I can see both of my lines. So I'll have the same half a tile down here as half a tile up there. And this little half edge of tile here almost looks like it could be a nice baseboard at the bottom on the floor. Or backsplash in a kitchen. All right, so now we need to find all of our, there we go. So I can see my pencil lines on this side right here. Just have to hold it in the correct light so I can see my pencil lines. Line them up, both line them up right there. I really like these box cutters because you can lock them in place, slide them out, and there's never an open blade around. You can close them right up. So you won't hurt yourself. Anybody walking by won't pick up your blade by accident and cut their hands. All right, I can see my pencil lines on here, again, on the other side. So, one last time, pushing firmly so we don't slide the ruler across. There we go. All right, so we have our floor cut. We'll test fit it. Make sure we're happy with it. It's a dot long, but I'm not going to worry about that because I'm going to put trim along all these edges and the trim will go right underneath that. So that'll actually cover up the edge of the trim a little bit so it'll look nice. If I was bothered by it, I could definitely trim it off right now. But it looks like we got a good tight fit right in those corners. Nice square room. So now, back to the stylus right here. So it's just a matter of, there's two different size balls on the end. One's a little bit bigger, one's a little bit smaller. You can line your ruler up right on the grout lines and just some nice even pressure. You don't need to push too hard because you will rip the paper if you push too hard. You're just gonna score, pushing, kind of pushing across like that. And then when you hold it up in the light, you can see a little bit of the line pushed down. Do a little bit heavier and see. Yeah, a little bit heavier. But you just have to kind of feel it and listen. You don't want the paper to rip. And if you push too hard, it could hurt your tile floor, it could hurt your design. Fortunately, we have a tiny bathroom, so we have definitely enough leftover scrap on the other side. But if you have a really big project, you don't want to damage your floor. Just run that ball stylus back and forth. Pushing down. Line it up. But this floor would be just as nice if you didn't choose to do the grout lines. On a bigger project, I probably wouldn't bother, but it's such a nice little small bathroom. It's not a big task, so it's kind of fun to do a little something different. These flower styluses, well, it's a ball stylus. I think I always call it a flower stylus. Have a lot of uses in different projects as well. If you've ever done any paper flower kits, which we also sell online, these really help you shape the petals to get that cupped shape, because most flower petals aren't very flat. Most of them cup up towards the center. And this tool, if you have foam underneath it or anything soft, a folded up kitchen towel or washcloth, and you can push into the flower little circles, and it'll make the paper cup right up. So these are definitely a useful tool for other projects. You're not going to just use it in your floor. Now we're going to go the other direction on the across grout lines. I'm doing like 3 or 4 times, and I'm pushing nice and firm. Back and forth. And then once we get all the way to the bottom, since my floor's size fits and I already test fitted it, we're gonna glue it right in. When I do wallpaper, I like to glue the back of the wallpaper. When I do flooring, I like to put the glue on the actual floor of the dollhouse. I like to use Yes paste for the walls, and for this floor, because it is on just a paper mat board, any of my paper flooring, laminated papers, I like to use the Yes glue, the wallpaper paste. The white glue I use on any plastic sheet flooring, like this one I have in the kitchen, or the ones that come in a full sheet of plastic. I use the white glue. The Yes paste sticks really well when the materials are porous, like paper is, but the Yes paste does not stick well when you have a plastic surface. All right, for this last piece, because my ruler is falling off, I'm just going to turn the floor over so my ruler can stay on the floor instead of falling off the edge. Push down on that grout line. Okay, and if there were any you didn't like, you could definitely go over them again, but you can kind of see when you turn it and everything, it's got that little, you can definitely feel it. It's got that little embossed grout line that you can feel. Just double check, make sure we're all right, perfect. We're going to put the glue, the Yes paste I have right here, right in the dollhouse, right on the floor. The Yes glue, a little bit goes a long way. You do not need too much. Bigger spreader here, just a Bondo spreader, a plastic putty knife will work, as well as an old credit card will also work. Make sure it's nice and even, no dry spots, no high ridges. If you were doing a big flooring project, you might need to weight your floor down with some books, but this one's so small that will probably be just fine. Slide it right in there. Make sure our hands are clean so we're not smearing glue all over it, and push it down. Nice and tight, tuck it in, push tight and tuck it down. And there we have installed an old world tile floor. And again, if you wanted to seal this with some Mod Podge or further protect it, you definitely can. I might recommend trying it on a scrap piece first to make sure it doesn't discolor it or wrinkle it or bubble it. But you can also leave it as is because it does already have a coating on it. All right, and there you have it. The Rye Dollhouse bathroom has an old world tile floor. Thanks for joining us. Let us know if you have any other videos you'd like to see, how-tos. Thanks.